Is it 8?
So deep, important conversations about what size microphone connectors I have, or not microphone, headphone connectors. Anyway, it's almost agreeing, everybody. It's the end of summer. The kids are back at school. We're rocking and rolling into city elections. Early voting started earlier this week, so we've got some sort of results to talk about. That's a whole big thing. But we're almost in agreement at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. You can go to our website. It's almostinagreement.com. While you are there, you can check out all the episodes, or you can go to any of your favorite podcast providers and get us there. While you're in any of these places, like, subscribe, share, friend, retweet. I don't know, pin? We're not on Pinterest, but anyway. And you can also go into almostinagreement.com/cityelections21 and get my cheat sheet for the city elections if you haven't voted yet. If you haven't registered, you're fucked, so forget that part. Anyway, we're almost in agreement. We're doing a show. Thanks for hanging out, and here we go. All right.
Are you from New Orleans?
No, I was just, I don't know, trying to get excited, trying to get pumped, trying to do a high energy show. And stuff. So, anyway, I had a couple things I brought. What do you guys want to do? We'll get to mine later.
It's almost deer season.
It is almost deer season. And the rains fall. It's supposed to storm a little bit later tonight, here at least.
They've already had 2 National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm.
It was like
size hail.
It was getting dark before I pulled up an hour ago.
I rolled the sun umbrellas down so they don't get blown away.
You better put the 4Runner in the garage.
I'd like to be able to. That would be nice. Oh, it's in church. Ain't no thing. Get a new one in a year and a half.
So not covered under Act of God.
Oh, don't get me started on Act of Gods. Still mad at KUB for that. Another thing that I don't like KUB for. Anyway, not important. I think it's funny. The premise. I know I've told this story. Not on the show, but I know I've told both of you this story. When that hailstorm we had back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Big one, like big chunks of the city were out of power for an extended period of time. I was living in Fountain City at the time, in this duplex, and we didn't get a lot of damage to the house that we were living in. Like we didn't have any broken windows from the hail. There was no major damage to the roof. There's no holes in the roof, anything like that. We just didn't have power for like 2 weeks, and this was when the eldest was brand ass new. So we have a brand new baby and no power. So she took him down to her dad's house, and they basically lived down in Maryville, or Wall End, if you want to get technical, for a couple weeks. And so I was working, sleeping in the house with no power, taking cold showers, that kind of shit. And so I called KUB, like I was calling KUB every couple of days, trying to check in, see what's going on, see if there was any at least time frame, so I could be like, hey, supposed to have the power back on tomorrow, so tomorrow afternoon, if you guys want to come back up, move back into your own home, kind of thing. And so this poor girl, it's not her fault, but like this brother KB, it's like I was like, I don't understand, like what's going on? Why is this taking so long? I see on the news they're working on all the time, this, that, and the other. I have power at my business that's just up the road, and there's power here, there's power there, but there's not power at my house. And she's like, well, when we get one of these Act of God situations, and I was like, Act of God? She's like, yeah, that's the term we use for a major weather event or whatever. And I was like, the whole premise that you exist on is an abomination of God. You can't blame problems on God. That's what you put light where there isn't. You put light in where God didn't put light. You put water where God didn't put water. You can't turn around and blame God for your problems. And I was like, after I got, I apologized to her, I think, before I got off the phone. But at the same time, it's like the statement is not untrue. That I think it's kind of bullshit that KUB can blame things on God when all they do is try to play God in their own little way. I'm not saying they are gods by any means, but I mean just in their own little way, they put light where it isn't. They put water where it isn't. If it's if we're God fearing, it's like this isn't where God put it, so you don't get to say it's God's fault when you do something that God didn't like. I don't know. That was my stance on that one. I know I've told, again, like I said, I know you guys have heard the story. I
don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that either.
Oh, well, that's
your other friends.
But you
it's
know
10 years, 10 years old.
You know we've heard this.
I feel like I'm sure I've told this story.
Anywho.
I just told the story. That's my story of one. That's the beginnings of when I started to hate KUB.
Anywho.
Airlines do that too.
Yeah.
Act of God. Sorry, we canceled your plane. There's nothing we can do for you. Act of God.
Right. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't like. I mean, I just think it's
Most people would chalk it up to that.
okay.
Like, oh, well, okay. Well, when you put it that way.
Yes.
I mean,
It's just like you just have to put Corona. Like someone's like, "Why don't I have my Big Mac in 2 minutes?" Coronavirus.
act of God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you say coronavirus. Everyone's like, "Okay, I understand."
Right, but I mean, but it's the same thing. That's a
Why
good
did you
example.
not put oil in my car? Coronavirus.
I'm saying, but that we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's like that's not an excuse for the customer base. You don't continue to say okay to that as a customer. You say no, I don't accept this. This is not what I go to Burger King for. When I go to Burger King, I expect the right food in the right amount of time. And you can blame it on coronavirus and staffing issues all you want, but if you can't do it, then you lose me as a customer. I don't have that option with KUB.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
No, I mean, I sure shit don't as a renter, but I do now, theoretically.
You could move
Right.
out of KUB's area.
Yeah.
It's just
Or-
more complicated.
Good
for
luck
you to
finding
do
a-
that.
Or
Good luck finding a place to live right now.
Right, or drop like $65,000 on a solar system.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that? Did they ever follow up with that?
On the quote.
Yeah, you were supposed to get a quote.
Yeah, it's 36,000.
It's not bad. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand it to say that's good or bad, but that sounds like a lot less than what that they're looking for my house,
And that was it was half price if you didn't do the battery bank.
which is pointless,
No, it's not pointless.
semi-pointless.
It's so during the day the idea is during the day when you consume most of the power, you're running off of solar, and then at night when you're consuming less power, you're running off of solar.
But I don't necessarily agree that that's a true premise. In the summer,
No,
I mean, in the summer, if you have like with your AC and stuff, yes, because your AC unit's going to pull more power than every light bulb being on in the house. But in the winter, when it's colder at night, but again, I have electric heat. I don't know if you do or not, but for me,
Electric, yeah.
yeah, for me, electric heat and lights all night long. I need to have a battery. I mean, it'd be pointless to not have a battery system as part of my solar.
Yeah. So that's what it does. During the day, so how the solar system works with the battery bank, so I was told by the guy, is during the day, your solar is powering your house and charging the battery.
Right.
And then when you lose your, obviously, sun, then it goes off the battery.
Right. Which makes, I mean, it makes sense. I like the mechanical batteries that people have been working on. That's one of the big things, like when you get out to when you get to commercial level solar systems. The problem is like batteries, like if you have like these big solar arrays that are actually like a power plant version of a solar array, you have nowhere to store all that power when, street lights, office building lights, all the different lights and stuff at night or when it's raining or whatever. And so like the mechanical battery is you take a water tower and then you have a ground reservoir. So during the day, it's generating the power, it's pumping the water up to the water tower and providing power for whatever it needs during the day. And then at night, when it doesn't have sun, it releases the water from the water tower, goes through a turbine, generates power at night. And that's a mechanical battery. I saw a video on that concept. I was like, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a cool thing. It was solar power, but it was directional, where it had the angled mirrors
Uh-huh.
going towards
Like a tower?
a focal point. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it was actually heating up. I'm assuming volcanic rock, or just they basically said rock, but it was heating up those rocks to, I want to say, like 1,200 degrees Celsius, just super fucking hot.
Yeah.
But I think they said that they would be able to store that, I guess, heated energy for up to a week.
Oh. Because I think...
To where it was kind of going into, like you were saying, like the whole battery power.
yeah.
That's the whole thing with solar. You're able to store that energy for a certain amount of time without, a large bank of lithium-ion batteries or whatever.
But those aren't good for birds.
Lithium-ion?
No, those mirror things.
Ah.
Because it makes that concentrated laser beam, and they've had around hundreds of birds that have died because the birds don't know that there's this mirror shining in that direction, and so they've had a lot of issues with birds flying through and getting zapped.
That's the one downside to it. Same thing with They do the same thing with airports. They have,
Things
spotting
that, yeah.
towers that are trying to prevent, and it's more to keep the planes from getting fucked up from
Yes.
mowing
They don't
through
care about
a
the
flock
birds.
of birds. Yeah,
I saw something about a guy developed a. It's like a divot. I don't even know how to describe it without like drawing a picture. But it's basically like a reverse speed bump, and so it's not like a divot in the road. It's just a soft spot in the road, and when you drive over that soft spot, it compresses, and underneath it there's a water bladder, and so it pushes that water through a turbine as you drive over it, and then when you pull off of it, that bladder expands back and pulls the water back through, and that turns the turbine over and over again. So you like install these under an interstate.
Yeah.
Where there's traffic all the time and it's just pushing the same water back and forth through a turbine. It's like, that's fucking brilliant. Yeah. It's probably expensive as shit and
No, yeah,
hard to
saw
maintain.
all those different ones because they have the wave ones. You've seen those?
It's just like a big paddle stuck to the floor of the ocean.
No, they float and they're like basically like tubes that are connected.
Yeah.
And as the tubes go up and down where they're connected, it's creating a
Yeah, there's a turbine of some sort in there.
that's turning it, and it's just with waves in the ocean.
I haven't seen that one. I saw one where it's like a it's like a big paddle and it's on a hinge on the floor of the ocean, and as the wave comes over, it pushes the paddle, and then as like the undercurrent pulls the water back, and it just pulls that paddle back and forth. Same kind of idea. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's an exciting direction. I guess this brings us into Green New Deal conversation on accident. On whether, I mean, I guess the question to me is whether or not we need to have this $3.4 trillion infrastructure package to fund it, or whether it's happening anyway. That's my question. If we're going to go there,
I don't know if any or all of it's going to pass.
Yeah,
they just passed a $1 trillion, which passed in the House, I think, which now has to go to the Senate.
It's the other way. The Senate passed it, and it's going to the House, and the House is going to hold on to it because because the reconciliation package, which is another $3 trillion or whatever, that Bernie built. He said, "We are not passing your infrastructure bill if you don't pass our reconciliation bill." No. So the House is going to pass the reconciliation bill. At least that's the functioning premise that's going on right now. Is the House is going to hold it and not pass it until the Senate in return passes the reconciliation package. Nice. Which would be like a $5 trillion total package.
That's dirty as shit.
I mean,
tit for tat.
I mean, yeah, because for Bernie and his crew that are working on the reconciliation package, they're like, we don't really feel like there's enough value for spending and stuff like this on this infrastructure bill, so we're not really on board. So,
what's the reconciliation?
That gets into some of the other kind of big items going on, like universal pre-K. Some of the free college or discounted college, some of the student loan forgiveness programs that everybody keeps talking about. There's a bunch of different stuff in it, but essentially it's just government spends, and we'll see what the economy does in reply is really what the question is. Because like we're still paying student loans. We've been paying student loans for 20 years. Well, a little less than that, but we've just still paying and what's funny is like I'm at the point where I could pay it off. I'm not gonna. I don't have. I mean, I don't need to, but I'm gonna wait and see because if Biden's up to $50,000, I think is what he was talking about trying to do. It's either 10 or $50,000 that Biden was going to forgiveness in college in student debt. I mean, that will cover either one. 10 will cover everything that we still owe in college loans.
When is that going to be passed? Because I might enroll for college and take out some student debt.
I think it's part of the
student loans,
but I think it's part of the reconciliation package, and so that when it does pass, it's also going to pass in some of the new funding for higher education that you don't have to pay for anyway.
Can you take out student loans without going to school?
I mean, you should be able to pull a VA loan or a GI bill anyway, shouldn't you?
No, it's only you can only use it from when you get out till 10 years.
So re-enlist for like a day.
Yeah, I don't think that would work.
Yeah, I would like to sign
Can
up
I get
for
a one day contract, please?
For 1 day, please.
I mean, it's worth trying.
They keep on trying to make that the GI Bill that it doesn't expire. So like the people that had it and it expired, it wouldn't be expired because that's money that you paid into that program. Like, that's how the GI Bill works. You pay in, and then they give you money. So I paid in, but I didn't. Well, I got 1 year of school.
All right. Like Social Security.
They took money out of your pay?
Yes.
Ah.
So you pay in $1,200. They take out like $100 a month for the first year you're in, and then you get, how much ever in the GI Bill.
Sounds like insurance.
Yes.
I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know.
I just thought it was like,
Never
hey,
knew that. Yeah.
you went and got shot at for us. Here's an education.
Yeah. No.
They took it
I
out of
mean,
your pay.
Well, some schools, like some states, I want to say Minnesota, is if you served, you get. I think it's Minnesota. You get free health care. I mean, not free health care.
So
You get free state school.
So have you any idea how military schools would then work as far as funding? If you're a student, I guess you're not quite enrolled as
if you go to
an enlisted.
if you go to West Point, you're not a.
You're not.
I guess
you're
you're
not
not
actually
enlisted
in the
yet.
army, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That
Well,
makes sense.
that's not necessarily completely accurate, because you could be somebody that was enlisted and then you go like reserve, and then you're just and you go to West Point, and so you're in West Point because you want to be an officer when you get out, but you're currently in the military, like reserve.
Huh. So that might pay for it. Okay.
So isn't it like if you're at West Point, you're obligated to a period of time of service? Isn't that part of the? I mean, not obligated, but is that
No,
like,
I don't think you're obligated. I don't think you have to join.
Yeah, like I graduated. Thanks, guys. I'm done.
deuces? I know how to manage a battlefield.
I know how. Yeah.
I'm out.
No,
I'm now an officer. Thanks.
Like
I
that's
just have
true.
a friend that graduated from West Point, and he didn't go in the military.
Really?
Not that I know of.
I mean, not that I have a dog in the fight at any, but like Army Navy game is one of my favorite. Like it's one of my favorite football games,
Yeah,
and it might be because it's like the only game that weekend.
I might be going to that. It's December something in New Jersey.
Is it New Jersey?
Uh-huh.
Is there a Marine like Air Force game?
No, because the Marines don't have a
Right.
college.
Because
They're Department.
they're already on the
Navy.
Navy. They do. They have the Army Navy game. That's why the Marines have a game. The Coast Guard Air Force game. Actually, I think an Air Force, maybe an Air Force Space Force badminton game
There you go.
which should be a thing.
I saw. You know how people are always recording, and cops like, you can't record here, whatever, and then they go on the rant like, I'm in a public space, I can film publicly, blah blah. And cops, yeah, those whole things.
I've been so into those.
And I was watching one like, you can't record here, and he's like, wow, this is free, I can record wherever I want. And she's like, well, this is the Space Force entry, and he goes, the what? Like, it took him, like, he was be all combative, then it was like, what the space? Did you say Space Force?
It's a real thing.
It is.
It's happening. And I like
They
again,
got
like
6,000 people in it right now.
I mean, and it's still like it cracks me up because like I thought it was like it I was very what's the word I'm looking for here. I was very capable of jumping on the wagon of this is just what stupid Trump thing. But after watching the show, it kind of makes more sense. Even though the show was a satire of the premise, it actually makes sense.
No, when you look at actually what they're now kind of like semi-tasked to do, it makes more sense.
Right. And a lot of it was Air Force stuff. Air Force was doing currently on some level, but it was just the idea was
This is one of these things that, 20 years from now, when we get invaded by aliens and the Space Force is fighting them, you're going to be like, thank God we started the Space Force.
perhaps.
I mean, we don't realize that what all we get from our satellites, which are essentially under the, I guess now, Space Force control.
Right.
And our GPS.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, if we're getting ready to go into a battle situation, the information
right.
that we're getting...
the direct military uses of this, yeah, it makes 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen one of those pictures of how many satellites are, like, circling the Earth?
Yeah, it's really fucking crazy looking.
I'm like,
Right.
Jesus, looks like an asteroid field. How do we even get past there to get to the moon?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're talking about
in modern warfare, if satellites were to go out, we're literally blind.
Yeah.
And we're going back half a decade at least, as far as intelligence goes, as trying to figure out a battlefield situation.
Well, I still have like solo cups and strings, so I'll be okay.
Whatever works. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, 100% agree with that. But it's just, I don't know. It's funny. It's funny in that it was one of those that it was so easy to point and laugh at Trump for it. But if anybody actually took a second and went like, let's think about what we're talking about here specifically.
Right.
Oh wait, this makes sense. Okay, I get it. But no, Trump did it so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I was watching. It was a bunch of stuff on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris prior to them getting elected on the vaccine. There's all these clips where Joe Biden's like, "Are you going to be the first person to take the vaccine? I'm not going to be the first person to take the vaccine. We need to have clear understanding. It should be approved across the country. It has to be transparency on all levels." And just because it was the Trump vaccine, and then they get president, and then he becomes president, and they're like, everyone needs to take the vaccine, which is funny because the Republicans were supporting Trump and his vaccine.
Right.
And the Democrats were the ones that were like, I don't believe in this vaccine.
Right. The hypocrisy goes both ways.
And then he gets elected, and then it flip-flops, and the Democrats are like, take the vaccine.
Right.
And the Republicans are like, I don't trust that shit. Wait, you trust that shit 3 months ago when Trump was pushing it?
And then all those people out there that are like, I'm a little hesitant. The phrase that they're using in media right now is vaccine hesitancy. I'm a little hesitant to jump on board with this thing. I've lived a year through it already. I don't know. And we're the idiots. Those people are the fucking dumbasses, the backwards people. They're too stupid to understand science. It's like, you might be right. I might be too dumb to understand science. But I just sat through a year and a half of this whole set of people telling me how this is questionable because it was under the Trump administration. And the vaccine that was developed under the Trump administration is now you have to fucking have it, from the same people that told me, I don't know about that. And then the same people, but before were like, we're going to get this thing developed, Trump's going to get this thing on the market, and you guys are going to be safe because of it, are now like, don't take the vaccine, it's fucking bullshit. It's like, okay, I don't know what to fucking do anymore. We can talk about the science all we want, but the just sitting and trying to watch this show of what we have done over the last year and a half, and having any reasonable person having any actually understanding of what's going on is unlikely. It's just unlikely that any reasonable person who is objective enough to listen to the science or whatever, who has been yelled at by your example being the Kamala Harris is like, no, I don't know about it. We got to be careful. We got to make sure it clears all the hurdles that it's supposed to clear before we take it. Now is telling us that we have to take it, but it hasn't done the thing that she said before. And then the inverse being a McConnell who was like, the vaccine's going to save us. Trump's going to develop the vaccine. Oh, I don't know about this vaccine. And it's like, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to think?
Well, I think it's funny that it's always like, these are medical professionals. Like, you should trust them in making the right decision. And like, well, 100 years ago, I'm sure there was a guy going, are you sure we can't save this leg? Nope, we got to chop it off. There's nothing. You're telling me there's nothing possible we could. Nope, we need to chop it off. And now we'd be like, what? Why were we chopping people's legs off? Because they had an infection. So it's like science. Just because right now we believe that is the correct thing, but science is wrong.
Right. Well, it's not science is wrong. Science evolves. That's the point. That's the way science is supposed to work.
Well, it's wrong when it evolves, and you're like, that is not true.
Right.
I mean, how many years ago did they think the world was flat?
Well, I mean, the example to me though, zero.
0 years. There are some people still
right now
still have not.
Well, I mean, because to me, everybody keeps throwing out like one of the funny memes I saw was like, well, if Trump was president when polio was around, we'd still be, nobody get the vaccine and polio would still be a problem. Like the first outbreak of polio in the United States was in like the 1890s. And that would be pre FDR, who had polio as the president and all that shit. That's why he's in the wheelchair. And the actual vaccine that we use today wasn't developed and didn't hit the market until 1952 or something like that. So it took 60 years to develop a vaccine that was safe and effective to eradicate polio from existence.
What's coming back now? There has been some cases in some places with people with polio, and so there's talk about to start vaccinating people for polio again. Because I mean, I didn't get vaccinated, but like people that are.
Wait,
I'm pretty sure you did. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
No, do you guys have that little mark on your arm right there?
Nope.
Then you didn't have the polio vaccine.
Yeah, I
Well, we're
did.
not as old as you, and so they had better needles when we got it than you did, or you didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
I guarantee I did.
I'm pretty sure I did. I'd have to check my records.
I don't. I thought the whole
It's
that mark
inevitable.
is.
I believe polio is one
Yeah.
of the set of like 15 that you get in the first like 5 years.
No.
No, I think I got mine when I was in first grade.
We're staring down the barrel of the HPV.
Second grade.
Okay,
Around
7
that
years. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure it's on that like standard set.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't have a mark. I've never heard of a mark that people have from getting a polio vaccine.
That mark was what you got. That mark in the Marine Corps about some vaccine that you got when you're in the Corps.
No, I don't have it.
Oh shit! That ruined my joke. I was.
No. You don't know the polio mark? Jeez,
No.
you guys are young. I forget.
Not that much younger.
We're all staring down. Well, no, I mean he's on the doorstep of 50. We're staring down 40 right now.
That is correct, sir. All right, talk. I'm looking this up. Prove you guys wrong.
All right.
Okay.
If the internet works.
I don't know. Like,
Well-
I like the
Polio.
right. No, but I was like, since we're on coronavirus topic or whatever.
I
Like,
wish we had someone here in the medical field.
yeah, it'd be handy. I tried really hard to sit through the school board meeting
Yeah.
this week and watch all of it. And I pulled some clips, and we can play them here in a minute if we want to.
No thanks.
But I don't know. I have particular things I'd like to pick at, but
Such as.
well, I just the Stephen Ryder's big metaphor thing. I get it. I understand the metaphor, but if the metaphor makes it a one issue conversation,
How so?
and that's why I don't like it. Well, because
he advocated listening to experts.
I agree. I'm not saying that part's wrong. I'm saying that it's that the assumption is that really in his metaphor, Bob Thomas would be the band director, and what he was truly advocating for is Bob Thomas having the authority to be the band director and make these decisions, which is what the item on the thing was. So I don't disagree with his general argument,
Right.
but the more I look, he put it in print on Facebook once, and I read through it before it, and then I listened to it when he did it at the meeting. And as I was thinking about it, it's like, yeah, so if I'm the band director, I have multiple sections. I have a horn section, I have a high brass, low brass, woodwinds, and percussion.
In association with different particular school.
Right, and so but I'm just saying, if we're flipping the
You don't
metaphor,
have I guess you would have school districts. Yeah.
well, I guess more specifically, if we're taking his metaphor from, percussion section and percussion expert who he is to virologists and experts in public health.
Okay.
Well, what are the other sections of the band? What are the other sections of the band in life is really what I'm trying to dig at. So, like, if the percussion section is our public health section, okay, I'll give him that. He is the expert in that. I'll give him that part. What is high brass? There's economic conversation. If we're just staying in the school stuff, there's there's childcare issues. There's other stuff.
Right.
And so, I guess that's where
he was not putting himself as a medical expert.
I agree with that.
He put himself as a percussion expert.
I'm 100%. I agree with that. But his metaphor was
to listen to the medical experts and not economical experts in that particular aspect in which he was advocating
that's where I think
towards.
his metaphor failed. That's my point. Is I think that's where his metaphor failed. Is because, again, if we're taking the band analogy or metaphor that he put up, is that if the percussion section is the medical expert section,
All right.
well, there's the rest of the band that needs to be considered. We can't because again, we talked about this last week. If all that matters is health, if all we care about is public health and safety, then we're locked down in our houses, and that's it.
Okay. So you can do everything else in your natural day without healthy well-being.
No,
Okay.
But you can't do you can't do anything without putting some risk in your
Okay,
life.
exactly. Well, no, I mean, it's not exactly in what you were just saying. You can put nothing. I'm saying without healthy well-being.
Right, I can't do shit if I'm dead.
You can't,
You're right.
Right, you can't.
But if I live my life in the premise of I might get hurt, I can't do shit either. And that's where I push back in the conversation. It's like, yes, I get it. I 100% understand the metaphor. I understand what it's getting. But what his metaphor unintentionally illustrated to me is the reality of there are other sections at play here. There are other things that matter, and there are other things that are involved in this decision. And if we're going to live in a world where public health is the only decision that matters, then lock us in our houses and throw away the key. That's the only way. We can't drive. We can't meet in public places. We can't do any of these other things.
Who's going to deliver our food?
I don't know. That's the thing. That's my point.
What's that? What's the Domino's electric vehicle they have?
Yeah, the Noid. It's Noid proof.
But then you have to get robots to make the pizzas.
I've seen some really cool videos of people.
I mean,
of
it's
these,
there.
Like, automated delivery systems, whether it be pizza or whatever, and then like helping them like back onto a road or whatever, getting like stuck in snow and like getting it back on the sidewalk.
I mean, we're close. I mean, on the technology side of it, we're close to being able to be there.
Yeah.
But is that the world we want to live in, where that anything that has any statistical risk to your daily life gets taken away? Is that the world we want to live in?
No, but you're living in an A-B situation there.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're putting it in an A-B situation.
I know. I don't think I am at all. I'm not saying
you are.
I'm not saying at any level that we completely discard what percussion is telling us. I'm not saying that we say no, they're wrong.
You're putting in the equation of it being everything as we normally assume it, and then everything is opposite of what we have it assume it. That you're having to get delivery, and you can do nothing else. If we went into the supposed world.
All right, so describe me a world where if public health, if the only thing that matters to our government agencies is that you survive till tomorrow. Tell me what that world looks like. If their only job is to make sure that the citizens survive another day, what does that world look like? Because again, the iRobot movie is the proper analogy, because that is the correct answer. The correct answer is that if all that matters is that we as the government take away any risk that you can put onto your own life so that you can't hurt yourself in any way, the only way we can do that is to lock you down and take everything away so that all you have is the basics that you can't kill yourself with.
No, I'm not going down your fatalistic hypothesis here.
You make
That's totally fucking bullshit. I'm sorry.
Making a felony to run with scissors.
I mean, it's not apocalyptic. It's real. We on a day-to-day basis, you and I as human beings, we are a risk assessing calculator. That's all we do. I'm going to do this thing right now, and these are the risks that are involved with it. Is my want to do this thing outweigh those risks? That's what you do every day. Whether it's going to work, you get in your car. Is my need to go to work higher than the risk it takes me to drive? I like a couple beers in the evenings. Is my risk of liver disease higher than the enjoyment that I get out of my beers? And we go down that list all day, every day.
You're getting into existential debates.
Okay, so where does the government come into an existential debate? Because that's what this debate is. This is a government debate. This isn't an existential debate. This is a reality debate. Is that this is a reality debate?
No, the existential debate in what you were trying to say was coming home and having a couple beers, as far as it being damaging upon your liver and your lively health.
Okay. So me running around without a vaccine and a mask is an existential threat to me.
And then to others.
How is it an existential threat to others?
I'm sorry I had to explain that to you.
Please explain it to me, because apparently the idea is that we have a vaccine that works, right? That works pretty well, and that even if you somehow get one of these breakthrough cases, you're less likely to have serious issues with it, right?
All right.
So how am I
not less likely to pass it along?
Okay, but how am I an existential threat to you if I don't get a vaccine? Because you have it and you might get it and you're just not going to get as sick with it and stuff like that. The option's there. The only people that don't have the option are kids, which, you know, as of right now, it's not approved for kids. Don't know why it's not approved for kids, but it is for adults. I'm not sure what the difference is in a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old. Physiologically,
there have not been as many studies to then approve it.
Oh, okay. I mean, not to mention it's not still FDA approved anyway, but
yeah, it's only been approved emergency use.
Right. So again, that's an aside anyway. So who am I threatening with my decision to not get a vaccine?
I'm not getting into this.
I don't. I that's my personal problem with it. That's where I.
The rest of the fucking community.
Why?
I mean, why?
Because if they've chosen not to get the vaccine, then they are assuming the risk.
So they're just assuming the risk.
Yes, just the same way I am. I'm assuming the risk. I understand that there is a vaccine that helps. I've chosen not to get it.
Okay.
I don't. What else? I mean, I'm assuming the risk. And anybody else? I understand that
is there a cost to it? Yes, there's a cost to it.
What?
Monetarily.
To what? To me not having
to your hospitalization.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the hospitalization of
and
others.
I'm not going to get fucking bills for that. No, fuck others. Others don't fucking count in this conversation.
That's right. Other people shouldn't matter.
They have the same.
Other people should not matter.
They have the same fucking choice that I do to get the vaccine. If they choose to not, then fuck them. Yes, absolutely. If they got the vaccine, then fuck them too because they got the vaccine. I don't know. That's the point. Is that if you are out there and you have not gotten the vaccine, you have chosen not to do so. You don't get to complain when you get the virus from other person that didn't fucking get the vaccine.
I'm sorry. No, nobody else matters. That's why.
So
that's not what I'm saying at all.
So going on this subject, if you're driving around in your car and you get hit by a drunk driver, you know that people are out there driving drunk on the road, so you cannot be mad at the drunk driver for hitting you and killing your family because you took that risk when you got in your car.
You can be mad at them, but you can't blame them for it. So you can't blame them any more than you can blame. I mean, I get your analogy, and it's fair.
Thank you.
It's a solid analogy, great. But I don't think it's accurate. I get what you're saying. It's a good one. I don't appreciate it because it's making me work it around in my head a little bit.
On a side note, real quick, you're right. You guys are right.
Okay, no. Let me before you move on, just to finish what your thing, because there is no vaccine for drunk drivers. There is no there is no option other than to not drive.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I don't have a choice as a person who needs to get from point A to point B to interact with a drunk driver. I do have a choice as a person who is or is not vaccinated to interact with people who are and are not vaccinated.
Just like the drunk driver has a choice to not drink and drive and take a taxi home, is the same thing that the person that is unvaccinated.
Right, but again, because I'm selfish, it's my choice that matters.
Yes, you're selfish, so you decide to drive home drunk rather than...
Right, and I'm legally at fault for that to boot in the current system, and rightfully so.
They're going to start, charging people that don't have the vaccine with spreading it to vaccinated people.
But no, again, if you're going to make your analogy more accurate, is we're both driving drunk and we run into each other.
Not the vaccinated person.
Right, but the vaccinated person has a better car with airbags. That's the vaccine. They're not going to get hurt as bad.
I guess.
I'm driving...
That's bad, but they're still hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the two drunk drivers that crash each other and kill each other, they're both stupid.
Right.
They get long crash burn.
So I mean, don't even break shit. I don't even begin to understand the long COVID thing.
Well, I don't. Back to what we were talking about.
Back to what you interrupted with. Yes, go.
Yes. So the polio, you guys are right. They still do polio vaccinations. What I was thinking about was...
See, this motherfucker over here, unvaxxed, sitting in my fucking house.
No, I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
Not with the polio one, you aren't.
No, I am with polio.
Bringing polio into my fucking house?
No, yeah, I was thinking of the smallpox.
Okay.
You know the smallpox that gets that little crazy thing on your arm?
Isn't it like 3? Isn't it like 3 dots?
I mean, it's like a circle. It
I
looks
don't-
like someone heated up a brand and. But they stopped that like 5 years before I was born.
So I did that for TB, where there's like a little bubble that pops up.
Oh,
for a
they do
day.
that on your arm right here.
Yeah.
They put the stuff in there and you have a
Yeah.
little bubble for a couple days. Then they
Yeah.
have to check it, and if it's all fucked up or something, then
And then
you
it
have
gets,
TB.
Yeah.
And if it just goes down, you're good.
You ever seen people getting like skin allergy tests? That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
They like take your back and they like draw squares,
And there for that. Man, my kids did not like that.
and then
at
they
all.
they rub different shit on each square. And so
There's not rub like
or inject or whatever.
Yeah.
They make
they give a small child a bunch of fucking shots, which the kids did not like.
yeah. But then then they come back and it's like, well, square 5
Right.
reacted poorly. They're allergic to this.
Right.
That's allergy testing.
But I don't know. I like with the whole allergy testing, how I don't want to say how accurate it is, but like I know a ton of people that got allergy
pretty
tests. They're like,
accurate.
I'm allergic to this, and this, and this. And it's like, are you allergic to that, or are you just sensitive to it? Like,
There's a fine line between the difference between that.
that's what I'm saying. Like you go your
Because
whole life, and
they're telling you when you go to an allergy clinic and they give you that panel, is telling you things that they've given you that you would then react adversely to. The things aren't normal that you're reacting to. To where, I mean, you can have a mild allergy to grass pollen, whatever,
yeah, like
and other things that you
tell a guy
you
he cuts
swell up and
grass
have
for-
welts
Exactly.
and whatever.
So, like, you have a guy that cuts grass for a living. He goes in and they're like, "You're allergic to grass." He's like, "Oh shit, I need to change careers." But for him, it just gives him a runny nose every 6 months.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
I
Well,
know-
not even every 6 months. Like every time he mows the fucking yard, like he's got to be blowing his fucking nose.
I never had any allergy that I can think of, but in the last 5 years or so, I get like seasonal bad.
Well, I was convinced for
'Cause you're
years
weak.
that I just had like
Apparently.
colds, and they're like, "No, that's allergies."
It's just like here, especially when there's that portion of spring
I mean, we
where
were,
if you take a baseball bat and hit a pine tree, and
Yeah.
the yellow cloud just kind of
we were ranked for years within like we were at one point I think like the top or number 2 worst city for allergies in the U.S.
That's like the highest capita for
Yeah.
ears,
Yeah.
nose, and throat, or something shit like that.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
there's
we're in the valley, but
right. We got a couple different things working against us on that for sure.
Yeah, and we're getting pollens from flora, from the northern hemisphere and from the southern hemisphere.
Right.
We're right there in that Goldilocks zone.
It all just dumps.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So, did you guys read the
Nope.
story on Ben Crump?
I figured you'd tell us.
Do you know who Ben Crump is?
No.
Vaguely.
All right, he's a lawyer, and he is quite often attached to major. What's a good way to word this?
Civil rights.
Okay, major civil rights cases. I mean, he was the Floyd family attorney in the George Floyd scenario. He had some portion of conversation with the Breonna Taylor situation, stuff like that. So anyway, poking around on a Twitter page, and somebody had retweeted this, and this says it's Ben Crump's Twitter page from August 9th. Words matter. Good to see that Minnesota is phasing out the use of the word master bedroom. As far as real estate listing goes, many associate it with slavery, a repetitive reminder of plantation life. Together we can create a more inclusive and aware communities. So we're getting rid of the words master bedroom because it's racist.
So
What's the Star Tribune that it was retweeted from?
No, this is his page. He tweeted the Star Tribune article attached.
Right.
And it says no more master bedrooms. Minnesota real estate listings aim to.
That's on what he was retweeting.
well, I mean, I
he
think
was
the thing
retweeting
is, it's
from.
you're the master of the house.
Because you're the slave owner of the house. That's the the inference, at least.
So
that we're
then,
discussing.
so okay, so we can't use the M word now.
Correct.
You know what do I so am I racist if I go home and masturbate? Does that make me a racist?
I love your brain. I really do. I enjoy your brain.
I don't understand that, Matt. Like, you're taking.
Do you command it?
Yeah,
you do.
I do command it.
And you beat it.
Yes.
And maybe you tie it up if you're really funky. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting little thing that's happening because it's like, you know, if it was, you know, just some random Joe Schmo that had done this, because like I heard this because it was attached to Al Sharpton when I first heard it, and so like I was like, all right, let me double check this and make sure this isn't just some like one-off kind of, you know, slam piece somebody put together, kind of bullshitting on Al Sharpton kind of thing. And so I was like digging through it. It's like Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, blah, 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 blah. And so then I go and I find it. Like, this is his Twitter page that he's, you know, it's like, I don't know. Like, I just get, like...
Well, I mean, what else do we get rid of then? I mean, the whole word slave completely? Like, you know, the robots, that repetitive thing they call it, like a slave robot kind of thing. Is that... We shouldn't say that either. Like, I don't understand, because a word was used in...
I mean, even if
in a bad context in some point, but that word was
right,
not.
But even if the
not just used in that context,
right? Even if the origin of the word is in the bad context, like even if the actual origin of the word is like in the 1700s, or whatever, the term master bedroom only applied to the master of the household who owned the slaves and blah 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 blah, and that's where the term came from. That's not what the term means anymore.
I'm sure that wasn't.
I'm just saying, if
I see what you're saying.
You know, because I think you're right. The master of the house, and whether the master of the house held slaves or not, it was the master of the house. It was his bedroom, and I say his intentionally because historically that was correct. So I guess it's sexist anyway, whether or not it's racist. It's actually sexist.
Well, no, you can be a woman could be a master, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think master's not gender, right? Master's role.
But historically, it's been
just assumed, yeah.
I don't know. That's just that makes my.
It's just an example. Like this is what we're like, and I guess it's my fault for bringing it up because this is what we talk about.
Well, I mean, you seen the episode of South Park with the O.J. Simpson part?
No.
Where he's like, if the gloves don't fit, you must have quit, and he keeps on going back and forth and talking about it, and like the juries are like looking around, and then he goes, "Look at the monkey," and he holds up a monkey, and one of the jurors' heads.
Chewbacca.
Yeah, that was the
Chewbacca defense.
Chewbacca defense, yeah. But then he holds up a monkey. He's like, "Look at the monkey," and one of the jurors' heads explodes. That's how I felt right there. Like this is where we're going.
Right. That's not where we're going.
No,
it's
this
where
is where we're at.
Right. And that's the concerning part of it. Because again, like there's 1,000 other things going on that are worth talking about.
But how much traction did that make as far as one Minnesota newspaper pushing back against the term master bedroom being
I only think it's
a common listing.
I only think it's because this is how things like this start. Because Ben Crump, I want to make sure.
Right.
Yeah. He is an influential figure in the conversation because of he is that attorney. He's that guy that chases these cases.
Like at the end of the day, I don't care what you call it. Is he
creating a lawsuit based upon this?
No, but he's created.
What's the article?
He has created a career based upon this. And everything else that he's done with his career on the civil liberties front is attached to this.
You're giving it more light. Is that your point?
I agree that I've made the mistake of playing the game. Yes.
Okay.
And bringing it to attention. I just thought it was something, monkey's head exploding or monkeys making head explodes.
Well, I mean, I know it doesn't bother me taking. I mean, it doesn't affect my life for taking master out of that thing. Like if it just disappeared, I probably wouldn't notice that it doesn't say master. Well, I don't know what they're calling it now.
I don't know. I didn't read that part out of the article.
What's the new term for the fancy bedroom?
The main bedroom.
The main bedroom, maybe. But anyway, it doesn't matter to me. It just makes my brain hurt to think that was a discussion that happened. Like, I really want to know who was buying a house and was like, I'm not buying no slave owner's house. You know, I don't.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's changed anybody's decision to buy a place, because that is just the commonplace.
So here's part of the article.
But is it wrong to bring light to the origin of words? If that's truly what like this master bedroom actually derived from.
I mean, that's a valid question, and we kind of mused it for a second there, and I don't know the answer to that. But like, so I was reading through this while you're talking to. It says CEO of the Minnesota Realtor Association noted that there's a code of ethics for realtors in the state of Minnesota which prohibits discrimination based on race, color, sex, and national origin. And so, by using the term master bedroom, that's somehow discriminatory. Again, like it's like I don't know. If you're a black family trying to buy a house, are you again? I mean, Max, you made the joke already. It's like I'm not going to not buy the house because they say, and here's the master bedroom. Fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah, I really want to know who was hurt.
Right, that's right.
Wait.
Bless you.
That's
spreading the corona everywhere.
the fine.
Read the next part.
The fine lines of legality.
Master isn't the only word that's being phased out. What else is being phased out?
Master is the only word that is being phased out. There is also a movement towards inclusivity using non-binary and gender-neutral pronouns. Instead of man caves or she sheds, the real estate listings might include accessory dwelling unit or den. Terms such as guest house or in-law suite have taken the place of mother-in-law suite. Rather than his and hers, the term dual often appears, and Jack and Jill bathroom, it's now being called a dual entry bathroom.
Whoa.
Do you know what a Jack and Jill is?
Yeah, it's a bedroom between two rooms.
Right.
And so you would have your girl and your boy. They have their own rooms, but they share a bathroom.
Right. So
that's where the Jack and Jill came from.
Right. So you end up having two boys like me, and you have a Jack and Jill bathroom. One of my boys might think they're a Jill somehow because it's a Jack and Jill bathroom.
Well, I think that's more inclusive because we're not putting the stereotype on that Jills are females and Jacks are males. So by calling it a Jack and Jill, and if you are inferring that you are making a gender thing, you are the it's not racist.
That's why they're cutting it out.
It's not sexist. What is it?
Genderish?
Genderphobic? You are the person genderphobic, not the person doing the listing.
Okay, so
I think that's why they were trying to remove it.
So owners, primary, or main replaces the racially sensitive phrase master.
Owners,
right? That's the.
I mean, they were just the NBA was having a thing a few years ago about something about not calling them owners because they own the team and 75% of the team is black and these owners own these people. Like there was a whole slave kind of thing there, but now we're replacing owners with masters with owners.
Right.
How much money did they spend to do all that?
Make new nameplates.
Nothing. Nothing.
No, they spent time. They had discussion. Time is money. Like there was
no, but I mean, who's the they in the conversation?
The real estate board people.
I don't think it's the real estate board people. I think it's a handful of people that were hanging out one night and be like, "You think it's kind of weird that we use the term master still?" Yeah. And so they brought it up, and in the super sensitive framework, they're like, "Yeah, okay, that makes sense. We're not going to push back on that. We're just going to say, okay, move on." And then somebody wrote an article about it, praising the move, and then Ben Crump shares it, and now we're talking about it. Which is the problem here, right?
Jesus.
Okay, so city elections, right? All right.
Did they happen?
Early voting started.
Who's winning?
We don't get to know that. They count total ballots. They don't count. We don't get actual results. What the fuck? We don't get actual results. We just get total numbers.
Yeah.
And so talking to my boy Matt Shears.
When's it end?
I don't remember, like the 23rd or something like that. Then the actual primary is on the 31st.
So what are these numbers?
All right, so
early voting.
This is
He said we don't get early voting.
right. We just get total count. We don't get who voted for what.
I'm sorry. I was trying to say early voting is going on right now.
Right. And so we have this lovely chart, which I don't know where it came from. I mean, I got it from Matt Shears, but I don't know where he got it from. And so
I was going to say, did it come from Matt Shears?
And so what's interesting about it is Matt's excited about the numbers. And I'm like, why are you excited about these numbers? He's like, well, because turnout's looking good. And it's like, well, in my estimation, the better turnout is the less good for incumbents in the situation we have right now. If there's more turnout, that's more likely people that are upset and want to change than people that want it to stay the same. And so, but his reply to that is that Democrats tend to be more on board with early and absentee voting, where Republicans tend to want to vote day of.
So, but then what? But the numbers are less than 2019.
Right, but 2019 had a mayoral race in it, so it's not a fair comparison.
Oh, okay.
So the real comparison is
2017.
Right, 17.
Gotcha.
17 is the real comparison. And so, to me, in my limited understanding, that it feels to me like we have a strong turnout, a stronger turnout than we've had, a stronger turnout than we had.
Is the 14th the actual voting day?
No. We're talking
So
about the
those
14th.
Day 14.
Oh, no, there's 14 days of early voting.
So day 14, people were like, "Oh crap, I've been putting this off."
Right, it's the last day of early voting, because then it goes from you get to go to the early voting location to your actual precinct day of, when everybody has to go, instead of the kind of more loose, easy to get to, easy to get in and out of. Because I mean, it's still, I mean, you're talking about 70. There's 105,000 registered voters in the city of Knoxville. For comparison's sake, the 2020 November election had 70,000, which there's a huge number. I want to say, I can't remember what Chris said about it, but it was something like 30-something thousand new voters. First time they ever voted was in this 2020 presidential. But the moral of the story is you have 105 registered voted. At least 70,000 know where their polling location is because they voted in the presidential last year. We're 3 days into early voting, and we have a grand total of 1,200. But again, we talked about before, we pulled up the charts before from the actual charts from previous, like the primary for, what was it, District 1 we pulled up had, the winner of the primary was like 768 votes.
Yeah.
So again, to me, that's what to me says that we're going to see some new. We're going to see something different because the numbers are up. Because again, we have 1,200 across the 5 districts that are voting. It's only 200 people per district theoretically if it spread fairly evenly. And so I don't know. I'm curious. I'm still feeling good about my primary guesses, but we'll see what happens from there.
What's those bottom tabs? Or you can't click on those?
I can't. Yeah, I just got, this is a screenshot.
I gotcha.
But I mean, I don't know, because fucking the database that they have, it's fucking gross, man. So like the Democratic National Party, as well as the Republican National Party. So let's make sure this isn't a partisan hack on my side here. This is, both parties do this. They have all sorts of stuff on you and me. Like, okay, so this better example is right here. So Matt Shears can look me up personally, and he can get my phone number, my address.
You're my Democratic Party?
No, my Democratic Party support is 20.72%.
Out of
100.
Okay.
Right. It's on a scale of 1 to 99, I think is how he illustrated it. And apparently there's one more of me in the state, but it's not here. So he knows that's me. And what's funny is Matt Shears, the chair of the party, is only at 96%, 94%, excuse me. But what's weird about it is because like my pushback on that is like, well, I'm not 80% likely to vote for a Republican. He's like, well, it doesn't really say that. I was like, well, it kind of does because don't have another choice. And so, like, it's just the database has these things, and like they base this on all sorts of stuff, and it's all my prior elections and all my prior primary polls and all the different stuff, and which is fair. I mean, I understand why the algorithm that they kick out says I'm more likely to vote Republican because I poll Republican primaries, and historically speaking, because I thought I was Republican, but more recently speaking, last year is because I want to vote in the Republican primary because that's the person that's going to win.
Boy, were you wrong.
Not in the ones that mattered. There was no Republican primary for president in Tennessee anyway.
No,
but for the Eddie Manis, Gina Oster race, I wanted to vote in that one. Like, those primaries are the ones that make a difference because Virginia Couch is awesome, but at the end of the day, it's District 18 in Knoxville. The Republican is going to win that. So if I actually want to have an opinion on who is the District 18 rep, I vote in the Republican primary, whether I'm a Republican or not.
Because you don't have an opinion otherwise?
I mean, I could take the Democratic primary, which wouldn't have had a choice there, and then I could have voted Virginia in the actual general. But historically speaking, realistically speaking, District 18 is going to be a Republican. So if I actually want to have a choice in the decision, I want to choose which Republican, especially because that Gina Oster Manis race was pretty tight. It was under 100 votes total between the two of them in the primary, and I was one of them. But I'm saying, like, that actually has, like, that primary has real value as a vote to me, where the general, I mean, I still got to vote again in the general, but pulling a Democratic ballot right there, that had no value to me. So why would I? Because even if, like, for me, District 6 in the State House, or District 18 in the State House, District 6 in the State Senate, Jane George was running by herself. So pulling the primary for Jane George did no good. Virginia Couch was running by herself in the primary. Pulling the Democratic primary for Virginia Couch made no difference. So for me, for the most part, I think there was one item on which, again, is weird. The county and the primary run together. So the actual county general is running with the state and federal primaries. So I didn't get to vote at that point it really wasn't anybody but Biden anyway in the presidential part of the primary. So the only things that I could have had Democratic primaries or would have had choices on would have been probably whoever's running against Haggerty, and I think that's about it as far as my actual choices as a voter in the situation, because our August ballot was a county general and state and federal primary at the same time. Keeping up? Mm-hmm. So again, for me, my point being is that I understand why their calculator thinks that, because I poll Republican primaries. But I poll Republican primaries, at least more recently, I poll Republican primaries because it actually makes a difference, where Democratic primary didn't do shit for me. Because they don't get to know who I actually voted for. Theoretically. They're not supposed to know that. But they do get to know which primary I poll.
Makes a little sense.
I mean, I don't know. It's just dumb. I mean, it's just I get it because it's public record, but it's also kind of creepy that they have that kind of they have enough data to figure out. You know, because I mean, in a previous conversation I had with Matt, he told me what my top issues were, which was, I think he said he listed 5, and 3 or 4 of them were probably true.
What were the two that
campaign finance being a big deal for me? And it's like, I mean, it is, but it isn't. It is in the sense that I would love to see a solution that made sense, but I don't see any solutions that make any sense. So I'm not trying to change the current financing systems. I mean, hell, I didn't understand them when he told me about it anyway. So it's like I would have had a real dog in that fight, argumentatively. So then we got my follow-up from the ACLU thing with Councilperson Parker.
Mm-hmm.
It was disappointing.
Why?
Because she can't do shit. So we had all the ACLU talk. We talked about it last week. All the different spying apparatus that they have or whatever. The way the county charter is written, essentially that is at the prerogative of the mayor's office, period. So Amelia presented it to the mayor's office, said, hey, this is something I'm looking at doing. And I should have written it down, but if you guys go listen to it.
City mayor.
Yeah. If you go listen to it, Amelia reads the quote off from the mayor's office, which basically says it would be inappropriate on some level because it would essentially go against the charter that we abide by to let the city council oversee the KPD because that's the mayor's office job by rule. And so the only way we get any sort of oversight on it is through the mayor's office, which means we don't get shit because there's nobody like if for example, they want to do facial recognition with their body cam system and they have to present that to the mayor, what's the mayor going to do? Say yes or no? Or the city council at least has to have the city council sit down and they get to vote on it. And when they get to vote on it, we all get to go and pitch a fit or not pitch a fit or support or stand against it and actually have the public forum portions and all that kind of different parts and pieces. But the mayor's office won't do that anyway. So essentially there's, it's just going to continue. There's no oversight options unless the mayor wants to do something about it personally.
And she's not.
Apparently. So your mayor's good with it. And because KPD, apparently KPD said something about like they need it. Like they need it to be able to effectively stop crime in the city of Knoxville, which right now, whether it's true or not, say that out loud, people are going to be like, okay. Which obviously that's not doing a good job of it because we had this most recent 6th kid this year from Austin East that got fucking murdered. There's a...
By a cop?
No. Only one got killed by a cop. Maybe 2. This was just some kid in the neighborhood got killed at a fucking block party that the state, one of the state housing projects had cameras on site and the cameras don't do shit. Like you can't tell who anybody is. It's just there's a picture that's been floating around that they took a still off of this video camera that they have down there. And it was really what the post was, hey, here's the number for Crime Stoppers. We can see that there was a bunch of people here. One of you people knew what happened. One of you people rat your friends out and tell us what's going on. So the camera system's not doing shit on this particular case except for being a tool to guilt people into doing the right thing. At least the right thing in KPD's eyes, which in this situation was probably the right thing because this fucking kid doesn't need to get fucking murdered. But
they have no idea.
No.
All those people there.
Clue. Somebody does. There's probably a couple people that have some inkling of an idea of what actually happened and have actually some valuable information. But my point is that the camera system installed doesn't. And so KPD is going to lean on the idea that they need these things to help stop crime. And it's like, well, here is a current crime in process that you had camera systems in place for, and it's not helping you at all. The only thing it's helping you with is guilting the community into helping.
Well, it's going to get them to get a bigger budget because they have to replace all those cameras.
So does it give them more fodder for a more enhanced camera system?
Maybe. Which would be sadly unfortunate because at least, as the ACLU guy told me, which I don't know, he didn't share the actual studies with me, is that studies show they don't fucking work. They don't change anything. They don't stop crimes and stuff like that. And so, I asked Amelia about it. I was like, can you ask KPD for information? He'd be like, hey, do you have some sort of documentation that shows things that you have stopped from happening? Crimes that couldn't have been committed, arrests that you made because of the surveillance systems in place? And she said she's going to follow up, and I'll follow up with her in a couple of weeks and see what's going on. But as of right now, it's basically just dead in the water because the charter doesn't make it an option.
Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Sucks.
Aren't they going to call that Minority Report though? That's what their camera system is.
I don't know. It'd be funny. It'd be racist, but it'd be funny too.
No, the movie.
Yeah, I get it.
No, I wasn't.
Future crimes.
I wasn't saying the racist thing. Oh, because there's minorities.
Because it's minorities that they're surveilling?
I feel triggered every time I hear that M word, minority. We need to stop using that.
Okay. I don't know. I can try. For you, I will try. I'll do my best.
You won't make it through this podcast.
No, you're probably right. You know, like, what was it last week? You said something along the lines of, I'm sure I've made some bad jokes on here a time or two. And then like 5 minutes later. It's perfect.
Yes. I cannot run for office.
AC's a no-show. What a douche. I'm mad at him right now.
Getting that baby down.
Oh, I saw a funny meme on that. It was like I could probably find it, but it's something like, you know, my pregnant friends asks, you know, what do I need to know about having a kid? You know, it's like, well, you need to stop practicing on dolls. You need to try to bathe, swaddle, and feed a cat. And then they, you know, the joke is they roll their eyes like, no, that's stupid or whatever. And then it's like, you know, they had the kid, and it's like, why didn't nobody help me with this? It's like, I told you the right answer. It's not it's not a little docile doll that sits still. It's an evil demon child.
I've never tried to bathe a cat.
We
Or
had,
put a diaper on a cat.
no, I haven't either. We had one. We had a flea problem once upon a time.
I've bathed, but yeah.
Do I?
So I've bathed, but yes.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just put ours in a box and sprayed it with shit. Ran away. That cat was a bitch.
Put some shampoo on it and throw it in the middle of the swimming pool.
So, yeah. I don't.
Definitely end up with a lot of extra scratches.
Yeah. There's a funny kids book that we read. It's like something about bathing a cat. And it's just a funny little kids book. It's like talking about like wear a suit of armor, make sure you have Band-Aids, emergency phone, all sorts of stuff on hand or whatever.
Emergency phone? Just your phone.
Right. Well, just a phone with emergency contacts. Because you're going to need it and this, that, and the other. But I don't know. What else is going on? What's new? Oh, Cuomo quit. That's fun.
Yeah, he resigned.
Cuomo resigned, yeah.
It's a bummer. I would like him to stick around and got fired.
I think I saw there was a push to make it to where he can't run again.
That'd be a start. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him try. Like, I mean, like the AG report. I think the AG report on it says it was criminal. So just because he resigns, does that mean the criminal case is done?
Don't believe so.
No, it's still going to be.
I think the only thing that stopped was the inquiry to impeach.
Right, but I'll place a bet now that the criminal proceedings cease when he leaves office.
Yeah, Joe Biden.
I don't think so.
Joe Biden was suggested that he resigned because he said he's the only pedophile that should be in office.
These are the jokes, people. Deal with it. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's. I mean, one of my libertarian guys that I follow, or whatever, it's like, yeah, I'll take it. I would like to, you know, gotten fired for a number of other reasons, but you know, a win. You take the win when you can get it, I suppose. But you know, the sending people back to the nursing homes. Apparently, he started early in his early in his first term, he started like an anti-corruption unit to go out and like chase down corrupt politicians in the state. And then they started looking into some people that he dealt with regularly, and then he disbanded the unit.
That's funny. No, not those guys.
Yeah, no, those guys are cool, I promise. And they're like, well, you told us to go look for corrupt people, and we're looking here. All right, you guys are fired. Yeah, that and the whole Chris Cuomo thing is weird, because all of a sudden he's on vacation.
How about Perry Cuomo?
Who's Perry Cuomo?
I don't know. He's a musician.
I don't know. You brought it up. Tell us about it.
I know there's a Perry Cuomo.
There's a Perry Cuomo.
I don't know what it is. Yeah. Let's look it up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who.
I'll put it on the big screen if you want.
I think he's the cousin.
He's got to be a cousin.
How do you? Oh, there it is. Como. It's spelled differently. It's not the same guy.
Oh, he's an actor. Maybe.
Well, he's Italian too, so it's probably spelled the same and got changed at Ellis Island at some point.
It's possible.
But
I think he's a musician or actor or both.
I mean, he's in that career set where it was everybody was everything. He's in that time frame.
Well, if he was an actor at that age, he probably was a politician somewhere down the line.
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
It's like, no, it's not Cuomo. It's Como.
Singer, actor, television personality. Nephew of...
Great uncle, too.
Yeah, I guess it'd be great uncle, not nephew.
Godfather 2.
Well, I mean, like, Cuomo's 60-something, so he was born in the 60s, so it could be his kid. But no, Cuomo's dad... The dad Cuomo's
in his 60s, so he was born in the 60s?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that'd be the right math.
Think so?
Yeah, I do. You want me to get a calculator out?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 21 right now, right?
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
Wait,
I was like, that's an easy math.
Sorry.
I mean, you're right. It might have been the late 50s. I apologize.
Sorry.
I'll give you a little bit of
sorry.
Yeah. So, but no, their dad was a politician in New York too. Apparently, the Peckinzy Bridge was renamed for his dad while he was in office, and there was some shit. That was another thing that people were complaining about on corruption issues of his. Is that there was some work that was getting done on the bridge, and they put some bolts on there that were not to spec and were starting to break and shit like that, and one of those investigations started and just disappeared kind of things. But yeah,
the Cuomo affair.
But it's Cuomo. I do what I want. I'm Italian. I kiss people. That's what I do. I grab asses and titties and what was it, like the really weird one on that part, on the specifics of why he's leaving, was there was a state trooper, this lady state trooper, that he made the trooper's office assign to his personal detail. Good night. I love you.
Love you. Also, do you know where a flashlight is?
Yes, there's some flashlights in the top drawer in my room.
I checked there, and both of the flashlights in there were dead.
Oh, well, that's the only place I know where flashlights are.
Great.
All right. Guest spot by the little one. But like, made the trooper's office.
He needs batteries, not flashlights.
Yeah. Made like apparently she hadn't been on the force or whatever you want to call it for long enough. She wasn't qualified to be in that position, but made them put her on his detail so he could grab ass and do shit. Like, she was on his personal detail or whatever, which, like, she had no reason to be there for any reason other than he asked for her to be there, and then went on to play grab ass and whatnot. Which, this was like in 2018, so this was all before he was the godsent of the top brass of Trump haters of last year. That's what's crazy about it. Like, I didn't know, like, you know, you were talking last week about, like, why do we know who the fuck Nancy Pelosi is? On a bigger level, why the fuck do we know who Cuomo is?
Yeah.
You know, and realistically, I didn't know who Cuomo was until Cuomo was the badass Democrat telling Trump how stupid he is on, you know, coronavirus stuff, and how he's the greatest leader and he's going to get us through this thing, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so it's like, all this stuff existed prior to that. The media didn't care. And they were just like, this guy's the badass because this guy's giving Trump shit. So we're going to support him, and we're going to show everybody, and we're going to have daily press conferences that not only are on state-level news, but national news. So even us here in Knoxville, Tennessee, get to hear Cuomo tell the citizens of the state of New York the current status update of what's going on.
So who's taking over?
He's got 2 weeks. He's put his 2 weeks notice in. I can't remember. It's a lady, but I don't know the name.
Is she
her.
like an interim kind of thing? Till
Yeah.
they have an election?
Yeah, until the next election. And it's like...
I think she's the vice.
Right. Yeah. But again, I don't know what, you know, and I don't know what New York's constitution says about their, you know, transfer of power systems, because there's different ways that different states do that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tennessee apparently has a weird one where they have one where, well, if Governor Lee gets hurt real bad but doesn't die, there's no system in place in the state of Tennessee for who takes over governorship if he's incapacitated but alive. If he gets killed,
The vice governor.
the vice governor takes over, which would be McNally from Oak Ridge. But if he just gets hurt real bad and he's in this weird middle state, there's no rules in place. That was the thing Massey was working on last year.
To get something in place.
Yeah, which is going to be if I remember correctly, that's going to be on the ballot this year for that constitutional amendment, because it's a state constitutional amendment to basically do what would be logical would be to hand over authority to the vice governor.
Yeah, it's weird. There's nothing in place.
Right.
I think that if someone was incapacitated or not being able to do their job, there should be something
in place already.
Well, I guess you could impeach them, right? Because the person is not performing their job.
I suppose.
Then you could impeach them, get them out of office. But if you impeach them, does the vice take over? Or
you would assume it would be that same progress as soon as the governor is
Right.
considered ineligible,
Incapable.
incapable,
Right.
or yeah.
Right, I agree. Yeah, I think that would be the logical thing, but apparently it's not written into law, and so right now it's just kind of where realistically, probably the assumption and probably what people would do was would treat it as what everybody would assume to do, which would be the vice would take over, but it's not written into law that way, and so Massey was working on that this year, 2 years ago, because it passed in 21. I'm sorry, it passed in 20. For round 1, it passed in 21. Lee signed it, and so then it has to become a ballot item on the next gubernatorial. So no, it won't be till 23. No, 22. Excuse me. So the next time we have a gubernatorial ballot. And when is that? When it was 20? When did we vote Lee in? Is that 20 or 18?
shit, I don't know.
So next time the governor is on the ballot, we will vote on whether or not we want to make a constitutional amendment to the state of Tennessee, giving gubernatorial authority to the vice governor in the event that the governor is incapacitated but not dead.
Is that not something that the legislature can vote upon?
No, because the process to change the state constitution, which this would require, it has to pass. It has to be presented to and pass with a simple majority in one session, and then by a significant majority, which is like a 60-40 or 65-35 split, in the following session. And then on the next gubernatorial ballot, it will be on the ballot for the citizenry, because it, as a constitutional amendment to the state, it has to go to us as a ballot item. Civics, everybody. We did it. It's complicated.
Yes.
And it's taken us this long to figure out that, like, oh, we don't have anybody in charge if something happens.
Well, I mean, apparently, like, Mazzy was telling me, it's something that they've had conversations about for a while. Like, people have talked about it for a few years or whatever, and it's just like, well, okay, well, how do we want to do it? And so she did
Something
it.
you need to go down my route. You impeach the guy for not doing his job, and then put the vice mayor in, which is kind of a fucked up thing. Governors of Tennessee that have been impeached. Like,
Right.
this guy,
Rape,
this guy, DUI, this guy in a coma.
right? This guy, right? He fell into a coma after an assassination attempt, and so we impeached his ass.
Fucker, wasn't going to work anymore.
Well, I mean, and again, but the problem with that is you impeach him, it impedes further eligibility requirements and stuff like that. It's like, if it's something, a major illness and he's out of office for 6 months, well, we voted him to have him there, and now he's back to capacity and he could do the job, but we impeached him because he wasn't doing the job because he was sick. And so, again, I believe that will be on. Again, I don't remember. I think it was it was not the 2020 ballot. It had to have been the 18
It
ballot.
wasn't the 2020 ballot.
Yeah, so that should be on the
So
ballot.
he took over from Haslam.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's been 3 years or so.
right. So yeah, that should be that should be one of the 60 something fuck items that we have on the 22 ballot coming up. So, something to look out for. If you have any questions on why that's there,
Get ready.
hit us up, because I sort of understand it. Oh, hunting season's getting rolling. We got a pretty good draw. I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I do too.
There's deer everywhere.
I may go ahead and get archery just in case.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think I'm gonna try to pull our opening weekend and go up there, opening archery weekend, which will be before our draw archery weekend.
Well, I have to check to make sure he's correct on that, because there's an archery draw there, a muzzleloader draw there, and a rifle draw there. And I know that during the regular season, during muzzleloader, you could shoot archery, but it always says, muzzleloader /archery.
All right.
And this doesn't. It just says muzzleloader. And I'm like, well, damn, am I going to have to go buy a muzzleloader now?
But is archery season just before that?
Yeah, it's archery season before that, then muzzleloader.
And what
Then
you
rifle.
saw, is there a cutoff for archery before?
Yeah. Well, no, for the Katusha draws,
Right.
there's a draw just for archery. Then there's a draw for muzzleloader. And then there's a draw for rifle.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that...
I wonder if they split
if
up
that's
those,
following the regular seasons.
if they split up those draws to give specific people specific draws before open season where
Yeah.
anything's viable.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I have to call and ask him about that.
well, when we get our TWA, our agent on the show, we can
Ask him
get
100
details. We can get all sorts of details on that kind of stuff. Like, hey, where's a good spot to go hunt? That's all I care about.
Where the deer at?
Tell me the best place to go and the rules I have to do when I go there. All right, that's a show. Except we're not posting that show.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Something happened to the file. It didn't. It didn't download right. I couldn't upload it. The system is broken. I'm sorry.
We just voice over him whenever he says, the best place to go archery is...
Was it? What's it from Peanuts? The parent.
Womp, 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 womp.
But I don't know. Like I'm looking forward to getting out in the woods. I'm looking forward to like. God, it's like it wasn't as hot these last couple of days, but it was just like so heavy outside. It was just uncomfortable. Like I was just sitting out there. Kids were playing in the pool. I was just sitting out there. For the first little bit, there's a little bit of breeze. I'm like, all right, this is cool. It's comfortable. In about 10 minutes, I was just like I feel like I'm on a radiator. Like, it's just soaking in. It's like, it's so hot. Just boiling from the inside. I wasn't even sweating. Like, that was the weird part. Like, I wasn't, like, sweating hot. It was just like, I feel hot. I don't like it. Global warming's a thing. That's why we need those cool paddle, wave
Wait, did you just say
generators.
global warming's a thing?
Did I ever say it wasn't?
I wasn't sure.
I mean, if I might have. I'm just for the sake of argument, I'm sure I have.
No, it's a fact. Our world goes through ice ages and warming and cooling and warming and cooling. They're just like a billion years long.
And if we want to get into it, my real issue with it is that specifically economically in conversation, is it the job of government to spend our tax dollars to force greener things upon us? Is that their job? Again, going back to our last week's, at least Max's breakdown of government
Were
thing.
we this close to ending the episode?
No,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I just had to pee real bad. I wouldn't. If we were close to ending the episode, I wouldn't have gone pee
Okay, never mind.
Well, the no.
or drank it.
Well, we say government, no, right? But then, there's requirements for, emissions and, pollution and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it's just how far do we say the government should have a role in those kind of things?
If at all. I mean, again, I think the reality is at this point, I don't think. I mean, especially this reconciliation infrastructure bill, which is talking about spending a lot of money in it. I don't think that's going to be the majority of the change that happens. I think some of it's going to support it. Like one of the big ones on there is trying to set up a much more inclusive grid of electric vehicle charging stations, like putting incentives in place for instead of a gas station having a charging station. So, but more specifically for like truckers, which I think realistically that could be a cool thing for a number of different issues. You talk about like trucker fatigue and shit like that, where these guys are, all the rules that they have in driving. It's like, well, you have a battery that only gets them 8 hours down the road. Well, then they have to stop for 3 hours to charge that battery, get a nap in, get their shit together, get back out on the road. Could be a good thing as far as like all that kind of breaking down once the vehicles get there and stuff. So I'm not opposed to government spending to kind of move things along,
Because it'll make the road safer.
but the mandate part of things is where I get a little weird, a little iffy on it. Where you and I have to start, where it gets to the point where you have to buy an electric car not because you want an electric car, not because you need an electric car, but because they're not allowed to sell. Like, you can only buy used gasoline vehicles. Like, at what point are they going to cut off and make it illegal to manufacture a gas car?
Well, then then California would be more of a shithole than it already is.
I mean, they already lost Tesla, so.
Well, they're asking people not to charge their electric car every day because it's...
Oh, their power grid can't handle it?
Yeah, the grid can't handle it, just like they banned gaming computers.
Right. I heard about that. Like, there's people talk about, like, how bad Bitcoin is for the environment.
Because of the power it uses?
Yeah. Well, I don't know why that just reminded me of it. I'll save it. Never mind. I don't know. We can continue down this one. I don't want to fully change subjects. But leaving Afghanistan was where I was going to go. I've noticed very recently that there's been a lot of articles with headlines reading like, mother concerned for her daughters now that the U.S. has left Afghanistan. Like an Afghani woman.
Oh, okay. I was
right.
I first thought here, and I'm like, what?
And then like I saw another one. The headline was something along the lines of a, 5 major strategic sites have already been taken over by the Taliban since we've started pulling out this, that, and the other. Which, again, and I'm not gonna pretend that those headlines aren't true and aren't factual statements. But, like, it did, I don't know, it's just one of those, like, it feels like media started to push us into, hey, we shouldn't leave. We should still be there. We're supposed to still be there. We have a job to do. We didn't finish our job. And it's like, well, if you can't finish it 20 years, how many more years is it going to take to finish it?
Yeah, we don't need to fund a police department over there. Probably.
Right. And it's like we spent 20 years training, maybe not all 20 years, but a good chunk of this time, supplying and training.
Yeah, but the problem is the people that you're training don't have the ideals of the United States.
Right.
So, we're like, oh, you just can't beat this guy in the street. We're training him like, you don't beat the guy in the street. The minute we left, they're like, that's what we do, beat people in the street.
That's how, I got beat in the street, so I got to beat somebody else in the street. That's how we teach people lessons. But, and again, it's just like, it's not specifically about the truth or not in the articles. It's just all of a sudden, because like, I don't know, 5 years ago, so 2015, 2016, we could go back and I'm sure we could find articles and stuff like that, but like, how much are we talking about how much we're needed there, why it's important that we're there, all those different things and all that kind of stuff. Well, how was the media portraying the war 5 years ago versus how they're portraying us leaving the war now? And again, in fairness, I didn't pay nearly as much attention back then as I do now. But
yeah. It's one of those things is like, they go to war, people are like, oh, we're just, America's being the bullies and going around and, trying to spread their capitalistic society to the rest of the world. And then you don't go there. And then you have people like, look, they're raping women in the streets. How can you just let them stand by and do this? Wait, and it's like, wait,
which one do you want?
Which one are we supposed to do? Like,
and I don't know, for me personally, and I think it runs with you too, and your breakdown of how the government should work. I agree that it's fucked up. I'm not happy about it. I'm not pleased that there are people being raped and murdered and all this kind of crazy shit that's going on in some of these other countries. But the same way that Lance and his personal life wasn't a decision that you and I needed to chime in on, that's where I sit on this one too.
Yeah, he can be a daddy too.
Yeah, I know. And he's got RLB. Sam, will you grab me one? Fuck, I gotta fix that. Fuck. I gotta write that down. It's the first time I broke. That's the first time I broke names
Can I get one, Tom?
in a long fucking time. Thank you. I'll go back and fix it. But yeah, he's got he posted those pictures, and one of them's the sonogram or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And on the edge of it, it says the doctor's office and shit like that. That was ROB.
Well, you know what's kind of funny on that is I talked to his dad, I don't know, like a month ago when he was in there, and he was just talking about him getting away.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think we talked about it on the show. Is like, we talked about it last week. because you were talking about how like his dad was going to cut him off, and it's like, well,
no, that I don't know if I mentioned it, but I was like, well, at least they didn't have a kid together, and he's stuck there forever. And then now it's like, no, yes.
Yeah. So that's probably the best thing, probably the number one semi-advice thing I ever got from my dad.
Don't get anyone pregnant?
Well, no, when we had the eldest, like, you know, in the room, everybody's there, yay, baby, blah, blah, blah. My dad pulls me aside, he's like, there's nothing on the planet that changes the fact that that is yours. Doesn't matter what happens with you and her. Doesn't matter what happens with you and him as he grows older and stuff like that. There's nothing else. There's no thing more connected to you as an individual than that thing that you just made. So it doesn't matter. I was like, okay. Like at the time, I was like, I hadn't slept in 3 days. It's like, okay, whatever, Dad. You know, as I look back, and I was like, that's, you know, I mean, it's probably the biggest truism of any truism that at least I've ever gotten from my dad, and I appreciate that. But yeah, it sucks. I mean, I don't know. I hate it. Like it's a bummer. Like I don't like liking my employees that much that I care about this kind of shit. I'm supposed to be the evil capitalist that doesn't give a fuck about my team, and I just
Or other people.
right. I just burn them at the stake and wear them out and get everything I can out of them with paying them as little as I can. Because fuck them. They're just here to make me money. Right? That's how it works, right?
That's right.
At least that's how everybody says capitalism works.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowed, like it's immoral as a business owner to be moral to your employees.
It's true.
It's immoral as a business owner to be moral to your employees.
I'm a shitty capitalist, is what you're telling me.
In the capitalistic terms, possibly, depending on the judge.
Oh, okay.
Depending on the judge.
It's all perspective. It's all perspective.
Okay. I just think it's funny. I just think it's one of those weird isms of things. Everybody likes to shit on capitalism and capitalists. And I would consider myself a capitalist. And I don't consider myself worth being shit upon. But
So you push back against the capitalistic cap.
no, my pushback is against anti-capitalistic people who have this assumption that all capitalists are the same.
I knew you were going with that.
That's my pushback. Because, yeah, there are some fucking shitty capitalists out there. There are also some shitty communists out there, at least historically speaking, as I understand it, which I'm actually going to give a little bit of credence to. The history might be a little skewed on how bad the communists actually needed to be. I won't say actually were, but needed to be.
But
I think the Cuban situation kind of highlighted something to me, personally.
Cuban?
Yeah.
Castro?
Yeah, well, like the premise is like we've.
Well, yeah, I heard a thing recently, interestingly recently, that thought about all the embargoes we have against them.
Yeah,
and it's like, you know what? We'll just take off all the embargoes and like see if they can fucking sustain themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Because we
keep like shitting on them.
Right, we didn't give them a chance.
Right.
To be successful in it. So the argument that communism fails automatically. Well, it's true, but it's only true because we interfere with it and make it true. We don't know if it's true or not. Because, you know, look at China right now. China's a full-on communist country. And they're not doing fucking bad. They're doing shitty stuff, don't get me wrong. Not to say that we don't do shitty stuff either.
But they're still a major international powerhouse.
Yeah, but China's finally made something that's lasted more than 2 years. Coronavirus.
We need to go back to that 60-year conversation about doing math again, about how long 2 years actually is. Well, I guess, no, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, it's close.
But but yeah, I get I think the premise is, I still think
it's hard to paint a broad stroke. I agree. Yeah.
But I mean, I still think the reality is that you can't. I can't see. For me, I can't see how you can function a society without having a need for a personal motivator, and that's the problem with communism to me. Why would you be personally motivated to do anything if it's automatic? Like if it just comes to you, if you get it anyway. How long until you quit putting forth effort because you don't have to put forth effort to get A to B and whatever?
I mean,
Well, okay, so this is the funny part. So communism.
Blessings.
So you're allergic to dogs or cats?
I don't know.
Because you're allergic to something in my house.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. So
Really?
communism.
Well, hold on. The I hate redheads.com reference guy is going to be the one calling out bullshit on is allergic to bullshit.
So
I'm going to bring that back up to the end of days. I'm just saying.
So communism is usually, I mean, I don't know one that's not run by a dictator, right? But capitalism is run by a dictator, which is funny, right?
What do you mean?
You own a business, you're a dictator.
No, but that is a business entity.
I know, but in capitalism, you have all these dictators that
right.
do
You have
what
little
they
mini
want.
dictators, right? But the overarching government is not the.
I know. I just think that you shit on communism, but basically all business run as communists.
Not really. If you get to a more truer version of capitalism, because the United States is not a true version of capitalism by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm.
If you get to a more truer version of it, it's a mutually beneficial agreement between employer and employee and business and customer. That's supposed to be the game. And so if it's mutually beneficial, I'm not a dictator. I'm a dictator in the sense that, yes, it is beneficial for you to do what I say because you want to keep the job because the job is beneficial to you. But it's not a dictator in the sense that you are forced to be under me.
That's true, yeah.
And, and that's, I think, where... Like, I think it's one of the weird things when I get into these into the economic governmental conversation of capitalism with people is that they equate the United States to capitalism, and that's not a fair valuation.
Who would you?
I don't know of a nation that is capitalist. There isn't a capitalist nation.
So the United States is the most capitalist.
Maybe, I guess, but I guess in the same sense that there's no true communist country that's ever worked either. There's no true communism. There's no true capitalism. It's impossible to do. But I don't know. I'm sure there's better examples. I'm sure Mexico is probably a better capitalist country than we are. I'll stick by that statement with very zero evidence to share with it.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
I mean, they have one of the most corrupt governments in the nation. That's just
so that makes them more capitalistic because they're more corrupt.
I mean, they're not. There's.
Okay, I'll go with you down that rabbit hole.
Well, are you going to go to? Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of structure in place that's subsidizing X, Y, and Z, to my knowledge.
Huh?
Like, what is their subsidy system in Mexico? Do they have a bunch of subsidies for a big oil company? I'm sure they do. I'm not saying they don't. But
yeah. I believe they have a state-owned petrol company.
Yeah, it's government's own.
They own their own company? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then I digress. I apologize. Mexico's not a good example of that. My bad.
Okay.
They have mandatory military
they're
college.
Less capitalistic.
I don't know what a good example is. I should do my research.
I mean, I don't know where you're talking about, like, less corrupt either.
No, Mexico is not less corrupt. I don't know. I don't know. They might be less corrupt than the United States government is, but I don't know.
They're just out front.
See,
it's just in your face.
Yeah. See Andrew Cuomo. See,
the cartels own us. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to deny the Sinaloa. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to die, so yes, I'll do what they say.
I'll ask next time I'm down there.
Okay, that should go well for you. Hey, who owns you?
Who'd you ask about who?
I'm not saying you're a slave, but I mean, like, who do you answer to when they say, like, if somebody says do this, is it Mexico or is it the cartel? It's Sandals, San Lucas. I don't know. I guess the point being is I think America had a much more truish capitalist system in the past, but it's not anymore.
What is true capitalistic?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I could start with, like, not bailing out banks, not subsidizing the airline industry because there's a pandemic on. Like, that'd be just a simple example. The government doesn't interfere.
Right. Pre 2020,
Okay, a capitalist system is not going to have a. I mean, subsidizing the banks happened like 7 times in the last couple decades.
Right. Yeah, sorry. 2016. Sorry, 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, and prior to that as well. But the government is not interfering with business. They're letting business do what business does. They're not picking winners and losers. They're not taking legislation directly from lobby and or lawyer groups that represent certain businesses and or industries. The government is actually operating on a for the people basis, where they're saying these are the things that are right for our people, not for business A, B, or C.
All right.
That would be a closer to a capitalist system than we are now, because we don't do that now, not like we used to. Because we do things like, I don't know, pass legislation that absolves all liability to major pharmaceutical companies as they produce a vaccine out of the blue. So, yeah, we can put it on the market, but we don't know if it's any good. Oh, that's fine. Just put it out. You won't get sued for it. Don't worry about it. Because that's important in the conversation. Again, you said pre-2020, but whatever. But yes, the 2008 housing crisis would be a good one. That'd be a real good one.
Bank bailout, yeah.
Right. To which the banks turned around and started buying our houses and then renting and or selling them back to us.
Yeah. The causes of the 2008 financial collapse.
Do it.
The causes of the 2008 financial collapse.
Right. God lost nothing in the process.
Right.
Just me and you. Well, maybe not me and you personally, but
they still got bonuses. Yeah.
Yeah. That is not capitalist.
Hey, your quarter of the earnings were great. Yeah, you get a bonus this year.
Right. That is not a capitalist. That is not capitalism at play.
How's it not? Did they make money for their shareholders?
Do it?
Did they make money for their shareholders?
Okay, we're talking governmentally. We're not talking individually. Yes, sure.
And a capitalistic system has nothing to do with the government. Has absolutely to do with business. Yes or no?
Ask your question again in English.
The capitalistic system has to do with making money for the shareholders. It has nothing to do with the government, correct?
No, not correct.
How so?
Because if the government is going to interfere with the way businesses work, then it's not a capitalist system. And by the government's bailing out the big banks, for the example that we're working on, we're not in capitalism anymore. The phrase too big to fail, it's too important that these industries exist for the lifeblood of our nation.
That wasn't what I was saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that those companies at that time, before they got the bailout, were making money for their shareholders.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's capitalism. And when they fucked up and did shit they shouldn't have done and got kicked in the fucking face for it,
right,
they should have ate dick for days and years. But instead, the government came in and saved them because they're too big to fail. That's where capitalism failed, is that the government jumped in and stopped it because they're too big to fail.
Okay.
So yes, the actions of the quote predatory lending and shit that was going on that led to that collapse, yeah, that was capitalism. I'll agree with that. Okay. But since there's no consequence for bad capitalism because the government will save you if you're a big bank.
Those companies made those decisions to do those things based upon making money for their shareholders. Yes?
Assuming that they didn't know that they had backup if they fucked up, sure. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that
they knew that the Fed they knew that the Fed were going to bail them out.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that J.P. Morgan and those guys were pretty comfortable with the idea that they weren't going to fail. They weren't going to fully lose. They were too important to the system. Then they knew it. Maybe not quote directly got told so, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm pretty sure they got told so.
You might. It might be. It might. There's probably an email somewhere that we could get access to. If we can get access to it, there's an email that says, U.S. Bank.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just do your shit.
You do you.
Oh, you guys fucked up major. God damn.
But what's funny is like if the bank that owns your mortgage goes belly up, you still owe that mortgage.
Yep.
And you shouldn't owe that mortgage if you went to the bank. Near the bank.
That's because the bank doesn't. Because the bank didn't loan you their money. The bank loaned you Federal Reserve money.
Really?
Yeah. Especially right now. Especially since the 2008 crash. Because the Federal Reserve, okay, so like perfect real world example is we have cash set aside, right? A pretty good chunk of cash. It's making us what? What did we guess? What did we say made us last year? $27.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a good sum of money. And historically, in what used to be capitalism, if I'm gonna as a bank, you're trying to incentivize me to let you hold my money. So if you're the bank in the conversation, I've got 20 grand, and you're the bank. You're like, hey, we'd really like to hold your money for you. Let us hold your money, and we'll give you 5% back annually. Okay, that's a good return. You can hold on to my 20 grand. Well, now the bank says, I can get it for 0% from the Federal Reserve. Why would I hold your money? I'm not going to give you any kickback. I'm not going to give you any interest, because what I'm supposed to do with the money that you are letting me borrow or letting me hold on to is I'm supposed to be letting that out to Sam so that he can buy a house, or that he can build a business, or he can do X, Y, or Z. But I don't need to have that cash anymore, because the Federal Reserve will just give it to me. And then I can give it back to them as you pay it back to me. And the interest rate that you're paying is 100% profit for me, and I just give it back to the Federal Reserve. And so you still have to pay your mortgage, even though I fail as a bank, because the Federal Reserve is going to get their money back.
So what's the requirements to be a bank? So we could just open up a bank and just borrow money from the Federal Reserve? Yes, I would like to do that. That's on my list of shit to do. I mean, think about it. Like, what are the biggest buildings in Knoxville? Sunsphere.
No. Wrong answer. Biggest building in Knoxville are the First Tennessee Building, the BB&T Building. It's the U.S. Bank Building?
No, TVA Tower.
TVA Towers, and then hotels. Right? So, like, of the top 5 biggest buildings, like 3 of them are bank buildings. How are they making that much fucking money? How do banks make that much money that they can build? I don't know. I'm going to go on a limb and say that First Tennessee Building, probably just in general upkeep and maintenance, costs like $5,000 a year to operate.
Most of
or $5 million a year. Sorry, not $5,000 a year.
Some of which they don't own.
Huh?
Some of which they don't own.
They lease it. They lease floors and shit to other people.
Lease out, yeah.
But I would assume that that's a multi-million-dollar building to keep up and maintain. Let alone.
But does the First Tennessee actually own that building, or are they just leasing it?
That's
and then
true.
they paid for their big sign to be on it.
I believe they built it.
Is it a Boyd building?
I believe they built it. Again, we have to go back in the history of it. But I mean, again, you go to New York, it's the same thing. Like the biggest non-resident. I mean, the biggest buildings are financial institution buildings. That's what they do. You build this big thing because we're a big, strong business and blah blah blah. But it's just it's a shell game that they play, and they play at the whims of the Federal Reserve, who has the authority of the U.S. government but is not part of the U.S. government. And so they just print money when they want to print money. They loan money out that they print, and they make rules that banks have to follow. Like my favorite recent one that I learned is that I think the current rate is 70%. So if you want to take a loan out from a bank, they're only obligated to actually have 70% of that loan. But when they collect it, they get 100% back, plus interest. So, basic math here. You need $10. I only need to have 7, but I can give you $10. But I get to collect all $10 back, plus interest. So I just created $3 plus interest out of the sky. And then we wonder why milk is now $5 a gallon when it used to be $2 a gallon.
Well, there's a McDonald's documentary. Have you seen it?
Maybe.
I mean, it's not a documentary; it's a movie about how McDonald's got started. And
Super Size Me?
No, I don't think that's what it's called. It's about the history of how McDonald's started and grew to what it is. And I mean, most people would say McDonald's Corporation is a restaurant company, in the food business. What do you think their business is?
I mean, I'd say they're a
franchise.
I mean, they're a management company. I think they're just a management firm.
They are a real estate company.
Ooh, all right, I get that.
How they got started when, there's a whole thing. The guy who did McDonald's basically stole the concept from.
Right, Ray Kroc bought it.
Ray Kroc brought it. Well, he stole it from the original McDonald's people.
Right, actual people named McDonald's.
Yeah, that were in California. They had like 8 restaurants going, and he talked them into franchising and expanding. And then he started selling franchises and then giving them a cut. And then some other guy he met is like, "You're doing this all wrong." He's like, "You buy the property, you tell the franchise where they can build that building, and then you charge them rent on that property."
Right. Makes sense.
And so that's how McDonald's grew, is they would buy the piece of land, tell you where you could build it, and then give you that, and then get your royalties or whatever. But they're a property company. I would have never thought that, but
I'd be curious if that's still the case.
I'm sure it's not, because there's McDonald's in like airports, and there's McDonald's in Walmarts, and there's McDonald's in all sorts of places, but
be interesting.
That's how they got going, at least.
See if I can find the Cochran family here in Knoxville. They own most of the McDonald's in Knoxville.
And see if they actually own that property.
I'm curious to talk to them about that.
Did you own your land? No, we leased it from McDonald's Corporation.
I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's a weird little. I mean, it's a complicated system for sure. And just like government, the more complicated it gets, the harder it is for me and you to keep up with it, to call balls and strikes and bullshit when the bullshit starts happening.
Yeah, that McDonald's, Ray Crockett, is his name?
Ray Kroc, yeah.
Ray Kroc. How he started was he was selling. He was an entrepreneur, like trying to sell stuff, and he was selling ice cream blenders. That was a 5-headed like milk shake machine.
That's hilarious because the running joke currently at McDonald's is their ice cream machine never works.
He was selling those, and he was going like all over the town trying to be like, everyone just had like a one thing to make money. He's like, well, if you buy 5, like you'll be 5 times as fast, and they're like, well, we don't have that many people that order milkshakes. Well, if you had this, then you would have those people. Like he was trying to get, and he came home from like a meeting, and his secretary was like, there's this restaurant out in California that ordered 6 of them. And he was like, no one ordered 6 of those. And he was like, she's like, yeah. And he's like, no. So he calls the guy up to talk to him because he thinks he made a mistake. And the guy's like, yeah, I ordered 6. He's like, well, he's like, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? You need 6 of these? And he was like, oh, I did make a mistake. Send me 8. So Ray Kroc drives out to California to see this guy, what he's doing, and he says he goes in all these little car hop places,
right? And
they just run shitty, and he sees these guys, and they've got like a system down,
right?
No car hops. You have to walk up to the window and get the stuff, and then talks them into franchising, and then stole it.
All right. So we'll close with this, I guess, because I had a crazy idea on a restaurant and doing a again, like the same premise of like there is the standard that we're used to, where McDonald's changed the standard because they put it in a different format. You had to do different things as a customer, but the value was there, blah, 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 and it existed. It's doing a, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like everything's banquet table. There's no, private table for you, whatever. And there's a limited menu of the night, whatever the chef's going to cook or whatever. But it's all like, it's like a backwards, it's kind of somewhere between a regular buffet and Brazzerios or whatever with the walking around guys or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's just like you just go and you sit at a table. You pay X number of dollars at the door. You go and you sit at the table. And then everything just gets delivered to the middle of the table. But it's forced community table. It's like an anti-COVID restaurant.
Family style.
Yeah, where you have to sit down with other people at another like it's not your table with just you. It's just you have to sit with other people. And you have all this shared stuff in the middle. And you just grab what you want and you just eat it. The servers come by and get you drinks and shit like that. But I don't know. As a premise, I was like, I'm trying to work it out in my head a little further. But that's where I'm at right now on it.
So basically what you're saying is a Golden Corral, but instead of there be tables, there's just chairs at the buffet.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if... Jesus.
How do you get everybody to agree on what entrees you've got on the table?
I mean, it's just it's a night, like whether you do a theme night, whether it's like Taco Tuesday, and then like, something like it's Italian Wednesday or whatever, but like you format it to, everything, it's a fixed thing every night, whether it's the same thing every night or whether it's, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday have different.
So there's not going to be a big selection so you can reach everything that's in front of you.
Right.
You don't have to be, hey, bearded dude over there, will you pass me the corn?
See, but no, I think that'd be part of it. It'd be stretched out a little bit because I think the part of the idea would be forcing that
That guy just stuck his thumb in the
that's
mashed
the thing,
potatoes.
is like, how do you-
passed it?
Well, it'd be a good question of how the health department would react to it, because it's not servers that are doing it. If somebody else shoves their thumb in the mashed potatoes as they're handing you the bowl, is that a health code violation? Because it's a customer, not a.
I think it's more. It's like, how do you satiate people?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? How do I mean? How do you give people the essence of having everything they wanted to eat?
I mean, same way a buffet does. You have.
It's not the buffet. You get to go out and pick whatever the fuck you want to eat. You're having random people sit down and a random assortment of things on the table in which they've got to choose from.
Right. But it's the same. I mean, that's what Presario's is. It's a steak buffet, but it's all
I don't
meat
know.
and shit.
Never been there.
Yeah, they walk around with skewers.
It's fucking awesome. It's fucking
And they're
awesome.
like, "What do you got?
That's
Pork."
cool.
And it ain't cheap.
No, I don't want that one. What do you got? I got
Right.
filet. Oh yeah, give me some of that.
Right.
I got
All
chicken.
right, if you're doing that, but it sounds like you're having people sit down at a table at a large picnic table, basically, with
Well, in that case,
a
you would
certain
just
set
have-
of a few appetizers, maybe a couple main dishes, and maybe a couple desserts if you're lucky, and everyone just kind of fend for themselves, no one knowing each other.
Yeah. But it wouldn't be like, I mean,
But
like.
that's what I'm saying. How do you make
I mean,
everyone
but-
happy that they just sat down?
But again, same way at the
to
buffet
this
when that one.
random assortment of things they didn't get to choose to pick, but they're then having to eat.
Right, but the same way at the buffet when you have that one guy that goes up and takes all of the chicken tenders out as soon as the chicken tender tray gets set down, you bring another tray out.
So you're
It's not like, I mean, it's not like it's not like the cool
All right,
Asian
so-
buffets that
so
have
you're
all the
just
food
gonna,
on the planet. It would be a limited menu, but it would be every table has the full menu.
who's ordering the menu? Who's ordering off that menu?
Nobody's ordering off the menu.
I'm sorry.
It's-
I'm just poking holes in your idea. I'm sorry.
Well, you're not poking holes in it. You're doing exactly what I'm assuming is the process. It would be that again, if we're doing theme night, if it's Taco Tuesday, then we have taco shit. Tacos,
You might have some chicken, might have
Right.
some ground
Chicken,
beef, might have
steak.
some steak.
veggies, a good Mexi rice, some guac, some sour cream, all that stuff's all on the table, and you just you take it out of the center. And then if we do like an Italian night, then it's like you have spaghettis and lasagnas and Alfredos and all that kind of stuff. And it's not you're taking plates. It's a shared it's a shared main dish.
I can see that a little bit more if you're diversifying it. Yeah.
Or even if not, again, that's the Presarios. I mean, it'd just be a different version of Presarios instead of having.
Yeah, instead of you waiting for the pork guy, they would just set the pork, the filet, the chicken,
Right.
the steak in front of you, and
Right.
it just sits there.
I mean, I guess in theory, you'd have some weird situations where there's one fillet left, and you might have some issues where I want the fillet, you want the fillet, you want the fillet, and we have to duke it out over the table to get that last fillet or whatever. But
No, you eat the filet, then they bring more filet.
I sat down as a 5 top. You were a 3 top. I get more.
I was here first. I'm white.
Yeah. Do I have to sit with the Mexican?
But yeah, that again, the larger part of the
That guy
premise is the
smells.
social part. To me, the social part would be the important part.
Well, it works at the Asian, where the hibachi, you're sitting down with random
same thing.
people.
Yeah. Except that gets weird because you get specific orders. But like,
Right? Yeah, you're getting your own thing in the hibachi style.
But I'm still, you're still sitting with people
Other
you
people,
don't
right.
know.
Right. So the thing is, but you're still ordering what the fuck you want.
yeah, but you're going to go on the night that we are serving the thing that you fucking want.
It would be
Or-
everything that everybody ordered would be on the center of that
But there is no
hibachi
right.
thing.
There
And
is
you
no
just-
order. Right. But the idea would be that
And you're semi-buffet, but it's right there in front of you.
right, and the idea would be like I think the sales point would be that it's social. That the idea is that you're going to go and you're going to sit with other people. That it's not just you or you and a couple other people. It's like whether it's you by yourself or a family.
I've read something in New York. Then I lied to you. I didn't read anything.
I made this up.
It was a thing in New York where it was like the Lonely People's Cafe or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and so all the tables were 2 tops, and so for single people, not necessarily single as not dating anybody, but somebody by themselves, so they didn't have to eat alone, would sat with another person, and they would
Right.
have dinner. So you would always be sitting with a random person for dinner.
Right. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be cool.
I could see that.
That's what I'm saying. But do that as in more than just one-on-one. It would be a group,
Right.
so that you could go with your spouse or your significant other, or whatever, but sit with other group of people, and whether I don't know. I think that's one of the things that's like, I don't know, like that this insular culture that we've kind of created is part of the problem. It's a way to get out of that insular culture where it's just like, when I go out to eat, it's us, it's our table. Leave me the fuck alone. Bring me my food. Leave me alone. Well, this way you get to talk to other people. You get to meet people. You get to talk. Because I enjoy it. Like, I talk about my servers and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know.
How you doing, Tim?
Right.
You having a good day, Tim?
How's work tonight? That table looks like dick table. Is that a dick table over there? They look like a dick table. I know. I used to serve. I'll take care of you, buddy. Ah, wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. Then he's like,
God, I hated that when I was a server.
$5.
I hated that when I was a server. I used to serve. Fucking great.
I do that to my doctor too.
So you know how much of a douche you're being right now?
I used to take my finger up people's ass. Yeah, I'm a doctor.
I have to go get a colonoscopy. I'm telling you, yeah, I've stuck stuff in people's butts before too.
Yeah. All right, so the finger and buttholes. So that's the show, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Sam, outro?
Nah.
Max, you want to do the outro for me?
Yeah.
You guys make fun of me for fucking it up, but nobody else wants to do it. We're almost in agreement. Almostinagreement.com. AC sucks because he didn't show up. Go to emails at almostinagreement@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Go to our website, almostinagreement.com. You can get all the episodes there, as well as your favorite podcast providers. And while you're in these places, please like, share, friend, retweet, subscribe, whatever it is that helps grow the things. What's the TikTok one?
Chickadee talk?
Does TikTok have a thing? Anyway, unimportant. Check out the almostinagreement.com/cityelections21. A quick cheat sheet, very basic. Let you know who you're running for or who's running for each of the seats and stuff like that, as well as some information on where to go to vote. Early voting has started. Primaries at the end of the month. Generals back in November. So stick around. We're going to keep things going. I don't have anybody lined up. I'm kind of disappointed about that. I got to figure out some new shows. So anyway, we're almost in agreement. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you later.